There's no time. There's no time for the intro. We've got so much to cover. What's up? My name is Flynn, and I'm here today on this big announcement day, all things Adobe and Creative Cloud. And I'm very excited to be here. We've got a lot to cover, so we don't have time for the intro. We'd first like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we are creating and streaming from today, and pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. As I said before, I'm Flynn. I'm clearly very excited for some of these announcements. I really want to get to the Illustrator stuff. It's super exciting. Let us know if you've got questions in chat. We'll have some links to some of the kind of key announcements that have come through. If you're not aware of it, maybe like me, you're just kind of waking up to some of this news. Our friends in the US have had it kind of for the best part of their day. Lots of links, lots of questions. Let us know in chat, off we go. Like I said, there's just no time. No time. Let's check it out. We are going to kick off in Photoshop. So just as a reminder of some of our super cool things that we can do in Adobe Photoshop. Where are we? Let's open this one. We're going to start with a border collie. Let's go. So of course, Generative Expand, Generative Fill, which have always been in Photoshop beta. If you look at the top right-hand corner of my screen, you'll notice that it does not say beta in brackets. It says Photoshop 2024. So this is now Photoshop Retail, which some people will call it. Your OG Photoshop that is sitting in your Creative Cloud. You now have access to Generative Fill, all the fun tools. I'm going to say generative too many times today and go all cross-eyed. We're just doing a little infinite zoom. Remember, you can do this. You get 3 different options as you're going through. I love that this is now out in the wild, so you don't need a separate app. So you no longer have to kind of have Photoshop Beta and Photoshop Retail, which was Photoshop 2023, both installed, which is great. No need for that. Of course, you can keep Photoshop Beta on your desktop because, of course, if the pace of this year's announcements is anything to go by, there's going to be more stuff. There's always more stuff. All of those features are now within Photoshop. So as you can see, there's been some UI changes, which I think are really cool. Now it's given us some tips as we're generating, which is great. I'd love some jokes as well. So that's going to be some of my feedback, maybe some terrible dad jokes, or you can leave them up to me. Let's cut through here. Got a couple of different examples. So yeah, this is our new tool. Don't do that. Generative Expand. Before I do this one, you can see hopefully down here that just turn my mic down a little bit, getting a bit of feedback. The space to pop your information into is like a little bit bigger. It's a little bit more legible, a bit easier to read. All the other things that we want are here. The generate button is a little bit bigger, which I actually really like as I get on in my years. So we'll do one more of these just as a bit of a refresher of what is happening. Let's also try and open up Firefly. So Firefly, it's not for me at this moment, but it will be Adobe Firefly will be out of beta as well. So you can go in there and you can check everything out. We've got our text to image, we've got our generative fill in the browser, which is super cool. Text effects and generative recolor as well, which you can jump across over to Illustrator to do. We will be jumping into Illustrator shortly. We'll check back in with our good buddy Photoshop and see how we're going with this just continued infinite expanse. So just as a reminder, this is our high-res image of the best type of dog in the world, a border collie playing in the snow. And then everything else around it is AI. Super cool. I'm also going to show you one of my other favorite features as we are kind of playing with this announcement here. I've got my friend here, not my real life friend, although I wish we were friends, doing some breakdancing. And so this happens all the time when it happens with static images all the time, where you get an image that is 16 by 9, you need it to be vertical. This is the common thing these days because, we're spending so much time on our phones and screens, and that's where the audience is. And it's also an issue with video, but it can be far more complicated for video. because what are you going to do? You're going to go, out there, record and shoot things. But with generative AI, we can often get generative AI to fix some of this for us. So now you've checked all that out. What we're going to do is we're going to take a screenshot. So I'm just in Premiere Pro, good old OG Premiere Pro, and I'm going to drop this PNG. So it's just this export frame button down the bottom here, which is just going to give me this frame here. I actually don't want it in Premiere anymore. I want it in here, and get rid of that. That's too much of a sneak peek. We want this. So this is just a static PNG image. It could have been a JPEG, didn't matter, of our whole frame. It's actually a really early frame in the piece. We're going to bring that into Photoshop. We're not going to do anything too crazy. We're just going to generative expand to vertical. I'm not sure exactly what the verticality, like what the vertical specs are. I think I'm going nuts, but it's really the aspect ratio we want to get right. So we're just going to go down here and generate, and we'll just get Photoshop to do all the work for us. Why not? So this works best with a camera that's on a tripod, like something that's not moving. But you can also, with a couple of hacks, do it with moving footage, not sort of panning shots or anything like that, but you can do it with sort of fairly shaky cam. You can kind of cheat a little bit. That first one's probably as good as we really need it. I actually like the texture. I think in the second one, that's probably what we want. Command Shift and S. I'm going to save this. I'll often save for web as well and throw an option in there, but we don't need that today. So I'm going to do a save a copy, come down here, and a JPEG will do us fine. Usually go PNG, but whatever, it's a party. It's party day. So here we are back in Premiere Pro. We didn't get the file, but we've got this vertical version. And yeah, we're just going to throw, so this is our dancing file on here. It's our B-boy. We're going to move that up. We're going to put our image below. And what you'll be able to see is it doesn't make any sense yet. I'm just going to go up here and go to sequence. No, I'm not. I lied. I'm going to go new and then sequence. And because I'm solo streaming, I'm just going to double check everything is actually working. This is something that we created a while ago, which just has the dimensions of, like, most of the social apps, TikTok, stories, Instagram, all that sort of fun stuff. And we're just going to get our video footage, make sure that's up the top, and we are going to keep existing settings. I'm going to get rid of the audio because it doesn't do anything. I'm going to put our JPEG below. Hopefully I can grab that without being too much of a punish. Yeah, there we go. And then we got these two. So it should be the same. So aspect ratio should be the same. And so what we need to do is just grab. That's not going to work. You can't group. What am I doing? We're going to make this 50% smaller. And we're going to do the same thing for this one. But what's going to happen? What's going to happen, you guys? Boom! There we go. So because we've used generative AI to adjust the rest of the top and the bottom of the frame, it's a still image, so it's not going to shake your camera or anything like that, or it's still enough. In this case, I think it was on a tripod, and there's no movement. Looks like he's on top of a car park or something like that. It's perfect. So there you go. No more letterboxing for the social posts. All my friends can see me dance. Super cool. And then once you've done that, you can even group it, nest it, add effects, like speed it up, whatever you wanted to do. But I think that's pretty cool. And it's one of my favorite features, and it is now in Photoshop retail. So Photoshop 2024, super cool. Let's jump across to something else. So all of that stuff is in the wild now. So for the past couple of months, we've been demoing on Adobe Photoshop Beta. So you can see in the top left-hand corner of my screen, we have Illustrator, brackets, Beta. And there has been some new stuff, some new pretty exciting stuff. And what it is that Gen AI is now in Adobe Illustrator. Yay! So we now have text to vector, text to pattern, which is super cool. I'm super excited about this, ready to play with it. I've tried a couple of different things that they work for me. Doesn't guarantee that they're going to work today now that we're live, but we're gonna give it a red hot go. It actually gives you, if you can look in the bottom right hand corner of my screen, it actually gives you some examples that work really well. And like with a lot of these things at the moment, like some things work much better than others, and it's a lot of playing around. So if you do want to get into it really, really quick, try my examples or try some of these other ones. So because Starfield has come out, I haven't had a chance to play it much, but Starfield, amazing Bethesda game, has come out. Really want to get into there. I'm all enamored with space now. So that's what we're going to do. But before we click any buttons, I would urge you to come over and have a look at the right-hand side. We have a new interface to explore and to understand. So on the right-hand side, we have type, and then we have this drop-down bottom. And this might be a little bit familiar if you are familiar with Firefly, where you've got kind of quite a lot of different filters or options to choose from, which can really help train the AI on what you're thinking, what you're trying to get. Our 4 options here are scene, subject, icon, and pattern. We're going to try them all now. I think for this, we're just going to start with scene, and we're going to generate. And you can see on the, something's experiencing high demand. Okay, so there's quite a lot of people out there trying. I'm just going to keep smashing that button like everybody else. Oh, no. Oh, no. Please. Oh, no. Because we're live streaming. Please. I work for you. Oh, no. Okay. Well, that's actually kind of lucky, I guess. Maybe this one is still there. Okay, this one's still here from when I did it before everybody else started jumping on this. That's crazy. So yeah, so the scene was retro poster on space, travel moon star spaceship. Lots of spacey terms. And this is what you get. You get a full vector. And this is really interesting, I think. It's just this starting point. You've got all these points. You could get in there with the smooth tool. You could, and like, tidy things up. You can ungroup it. Just hold down ungroup, right? And go, I really want this bit of the moon, and play with that. You could add texture to anything you want. It's crazy. So I'm really excited about this. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy that it's here. So I definitely saw this on the roadmap, and I was just like, I do not know how that's going to work. It's kind of blowing my mind that this is actually in the world. Here's another example. We're kind of hacking this a little bit just in case we are at the end of the queue of creating things. I'm sure there's lots of people trying to play around, and just everyone's smashing Generative Fill right now. But even this is pretty cool. Like, you could tidy this up, and if there's bits in here that obviously are like a bit wonky for the type of graphic I've created, but you could definitely clean it up. Say, okay, I don't like that bit, so I'm going to recreate that part. But some of these other bits are like pretty amazing, and that's also like a kind of particular look and feel, I think, that some people often go for. We'll have a look at this third one as well. Again, I'm just worried about not being able to actually do any more demo, but we'll see how we go. And I guess, hey, here's another one. So there we go. So that's that. So that was scene. And then we've also got some stuff down here, which is explore styles and themes. So it's like abstract doodle, flat and minimal, pop art / comic. I don't know what this one is. Corporate Memphis. Awesome. Line art and cartoon. So there are more options there available to us. But we're just going to move along. We're just going to try these main ones. Okay. So this is Circle of Flowers. And you know what? I really hope that we can actually continue to demo. Instead of scene, we're going to try subject. Now, I don't know exactly what Adobe Illustrator means by some of these things. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do a lot of this demoing, which is a huge shame. High demand at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. If everyone could just get off for a little bit so I can do my demo. This is an old file that I've actually done this in, so I'm going to try and move forward through time. That's not letting me do that. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So here's one I prepared earlier. I'm a genius. Yeah, so this was Circle of Flowers. And so just another example of like a different application. So this whole thing is all created as a group. I'm just clicking into it and not clicking into it enough, clearly. I just want this guy. So that's a separate flower. That's a separate flower. Now they've obviously like intersected in that way, which is interesting. But you can individually select things. So if I just wanted to change the color, for example, let's just do that real quick, just to show that we can. There we go. I changed that. I changed the hardest thing possibly to see. This guy. All right. There we go. Flower. Cool beans. I don't know why we want a black flower. We're not that emo, but there you go. Escape. Circle of Flowers. Subject, like maybe that's the right one for it. I'm going to go back again. Okay, so imagine that we just did that live. I was trying out a couple of different prompts for icons. So I didn't do it there, but this was an icon, I promise. Just take my word for it. And it made this beaker, and I thought it was really cool because I thought, how's it going to understand like iconography? But it's kind of this almost skeuomorphic version. And it's funny because as I said, like infatuated with space stuff at the moment because of Starfield. And this totally looks like something, an icon that you would find in that game, which is interesting. You could do a lot with this, like as a starting point, just clean up some of this stuff. Right? You can do all this. But we're going to pause here because we're going to show some of the other things we can do. So there is also recolor in here as well. So hopefully recolor will be fine. This is like a stream in itself. I'm going to dismiss this. But recolor has been there. Down here, this is, I think, just a shading slider. So even if you just want to kind of bring things down a little bit, or turn things up a little bit, a little brighter. I believe this would show the inverse. Check that out. But it's just so easy to play around with this stuff now. Like when it comes to colors, you can be really creative. You can be really experimental with what you do. But yeah, and the other thing I wanted to show you, which we can totally do, you're going to have to excuse me in the sense of I'm going to have to find something I haven't actually pre-prepared, you guys. Let's find hopefully there's something not too... Yeah, we'll use this. This is the generated artwork that I used for the thumbnail for this live stream. Hopefully it's not too complicated. I'm going to bring it down just to maybe hope that in high traffic time, this is going to work. So recolor. Come over here. We're going to color theme picker. This bad boy. And what's happening, I'm going to zoom in a bit. What's happening is we're getting this eyedropper. It's probably a little bit hard to see. I've got the circle over it, but the icon doesn't get any bigger when I zoom in. So it has an eyedropper with a couple of little squares next to it. And it's actually selecting the entire image here. So this works with any kind of JPEG, PNG, whatever sort of thing that you bring in. So if you throw in a reference image from an old sepia photo, it will work in the same way that it's about to work here. I'm going to zoom out again. And again, that's color theme picker. I clicked it again, color theme picker, and then click. And so what's happened is using AI, we have picked up, yes, I'm supposed to be asleep. We have picked up the color theme from this entire image and just instantly applied it to this beaker and given us all these options to play around with the parameters too. It's really crazy. I urge you to try it out. Could be super interesting for, I'm creating artwork based on like a particular theme, or if you're creating a brand but you have like a mood board. Like imagine if your client like goes, yes, this is the mood that we have. We have this like cyberpunk but a little bit more gritty or futuristic. I know that's what cyberpunk is, but you know, you get my meaning. Happy punk, okay? It's happy cyberpunk. Maybe it's something like that, and they've got this mood board, and they're like, yeah, we love this movie, we love all these photos. Like it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You can kind of get them together and then use that just at the idea stage as well. Like even just at the beginning, just to get you going, get you moving faster. So all right, I've stalled enough. Let's see if we can do pattern. So I'm going to go to pattern. I'm going to give it a go. It's been a little bit of time. Maybe everyone's being chill. We will see. So hopefully we can do a little bit more live stuff. If not, hopefully it also remembers some of my previous prompts. Shade like a boss using gradient mesh. I want to know who at Adobe is writing these. It's great. I really like the idea. I would like to submit some, please, and thank you. Use Pathfinder to. Oh, I missed it. So something that you'll notice, because I'm rambling and filling this gap a little bit worse than usual, is that it takes a bit longer. And as you can imagine, every single point of a vector, takes computing power. So if you ever like have an original vector file and you save it with all of the points and nothing expanded and everything, it can often be really huge. Like if you've got like an A4 something. How do we go? What happened then? Okay, didn't like it. We're going to go back. Okay, there we go. It didn't like it. High traffic at the moment, guys. But this is an example that came through for me before. Let's zoom in on that. And I think that is really neat. So it's created this vector pattern for us, which is super cool. And like, this is a vibe, like this style. Like you get in close and you can see the AI-ness, right? But zoomed out, like as a mood board, as a starting point, you could jump in and clean it up. You could draw over the top of it in your style, in a different style. You might go, you know what? I actually really like this George Jetson style pattern. I'm gonna keep it, or I'm gonna draw in that style, like, use it as a reference or something like that. Super cool. I'm gonna see if there was any more. This is another example that I got before, and I'm so glad that Illustrator has saved these. I don't know what's going on here. This is like an Air Force One heel pump or something. Someone's going to make this shoe now. And let's see if there's another one. 1, 2, 3. No, okay, I think I've gone too deep. So that was cool. And then there we go. That is actually an artwork. This is another one that was created previously, but let's try something a little bit different. Not going to do that as a pattern. We're going to do this as a scene. So, I hope this works, because when I did, this was my favorite one, so I saved it to the end. Yeah, it's not gonna happen for me. Damn. Let me see if I can go back and it will work, but I don't think so. We are out of luck, my friends. Oh no. That's not going to work, is it, if I do that? Oh dear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, cool. At least I can demo this. So something happened. I was experimenting with what you can do with Generative Fill here in beta. Is it generative? Is that what we call it? Gen AI? Anyway. And I was copying this text over. You see I've got in the top left-hand corner, I've got science beaker in the top left, just to remind me what the prompt is, and just so I don't have to jump in and out of apps. So I was like, that's the pattern. It made something cool. It works. I'll use that again for the live show. And I had the text highlighted when I was generating this. So I had all this highlighted, right? And then I came over here, I pasted it in, and then I generated it. And what I got was, whoa, what I got was the pattern inside, which I just thought was really cool. So glitch or feature. I'm sure it's intentional. Whoops. But I thought it was super cool. At first, I was like, oh, the pattern's inside the letters. And I know we can do this. It's just a clipping mask and stuff. But I thought it was really cool just that Illustrator understood to skip that step. And also, it's live text. So if I want to say live text, I know this is like a crazy font, but we do this, Adobe Live. There we go. Not the most legible thing in the world, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, crazy that it's just live text. So I thought that was pretty neat. And then, oh, maybe it's in this one. It's gone. It is lost. It's lost to everything else. But anyway, hey, I just wanted to play around with some of these new features. I'm going to continue to play with this Illustrator stuff. Obviously, super high demand right now, which reminds me so much of when Firefly first came out, and so many people kind of just wanted to jump through. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know if you've enjoyed playing with it. Check out all the information on the credit system and everything like that. Play around, share it with everybody. I'd love to see what you all come up with. And thanks for watching. See you later.